Welcome to my channel, People Tech Media. We are happy to have you around. So please feel comfortable and please don't forget to like our content, to subscribe to our channel, and also share with your friends and your family, as we are dedicated to making content that will enrich your daily lives. Good day. So in today's tutorial, we'll be looking at how to design flyers generally, whether be it for programs, be it for an event, be it a church flyers, a flyer. Now, before I get to designing, I want to just say one or two things. And number one thing I want to say is, when you talk of designing an event, a flyer, or a program, one thing you need to consider is, number one, what the theme of the program is all about. That's what is the program really about. Is it about is it a birthday event? Is it a wedding event? Is it a party event? Is it a church event, a religious event, a cultural event? You have to put that into consideration. Now, after putting that into consideration, you have to now check, secondly, this particular event, is there a particular color? Like for instance, when you want to design a flyer concerning independence, of course, you have to make use predominantly, the colors you'll be using are the colors of that particular country you are trying to talk about. For instance, let's say you want to design about the American or the UK or the US or Nigeria or any African country, maybe about their independence. Of course, the colors of the flag have to be predominant in your designs. Yes. And secondly, even if you are designing for a program, for a flyer, you have to check, is there a dress code for that program? If there is a dress code for that program or event, that color, one way or the other, have to come in. So apart from that, there's what we call the psychology of color. Now, when we say the psychology of color, is simply how color affects each and every aspect of our lives. For instance, colors like purple, colors like gold, majorly, and sometimes royal blue have been taken as colors of royalties. So when you are designing something that have to do with royalty, something that have to do with king, something that have to do with leadership, you find out that white are not inclusive. I told you already that black and white are neutral colors. For instance, you are planning on designing a flyer, you can decide to use red, you can decide to use, let's say, blue, then maybe let's say you pick green. You understand? That those three colors are okay, because you can use, alongside these three colors, you can use white and black. Yes, so at least to keep your design professional. Then for your fonts also, I will advise you to not use more than 3 different fonts. In fact, if possible, narrow it down to 2 fonts. Yes, it's going to be much more better that way. The issue of using 4, 5, 6 fonts, number one, rough. Then number two, not so professional at all. Yes, so that's it. Then secondly, you have to take note of the arrangement of your fonts. So just like I say, graphic design is about your color combinations, your fonts, and the arrangement of your fonts. Majorly anything that have to do with fonts, they call it typography. So your typography is very, very important. How do you arrange your writings? How do you space your writings? That's in between letters and in between lines. And how the size of your writing, like the emphasis you place on your writing, because not all writing will need to be bold. Some you need to bold them, some you need to make them thin, some you need to make them bigger. For instance, more like the theme or the topic of what you are designing, it has to be bigger than any other thing on the design. Then another thing is, when designing, although it's not necessary to always use pictures that illustrate what you are trying advertisement product. When for instance you want to design you want to design a flyer that will be used for advertisement, for advertising a product, is very very important to bring quality, to use quality pictures of that product on your design, because this kind of design you are trying to not only pass across an information but also pass across a product to potential buyers and potential customers and potential clients. So you have to do all you can to make sure you provide not only information about that product or that good, but also the physical appearance of that product. Because you know, human being psychology, a human being can actually take the picture of a product, test it out even before him buying it, through his imagination. So that's why it's very very important, most especially for advertisement, for advertising, when you are marketing products. Yes. Then there are also some kind of designs also that is very very important to make use of images. So now one of one of the websites I normally use to get good quality pictures, I call stock, they are being called stock images, is actually pizzabay.com. Now you'll be seeing it on my browser. So let's see, you see www.pizzabay.com. Now one thing with pizzabay.com is that they have so many pictures of different qualities, both high quality and low quality. Yes, although there are other websites of stock images that you can also use. There's very good, there's Shutterstock, there's iStock, but most of those ones, most especially your Shutterstock and iStock, they are paid. But your Pizzabay is free. You get, so that's the main reason why I love Pizzabay. Yes, it's free. So now, so now, let's say you want to design something that has to do with what should we say, let's say, since it's almost Christmas season, let's say I want to design something about Christmas. Now the first thing I'm going to do is, after coming to my browser, you can use Chrome, you can use Firefox, although I prefer using Chrome because the way the interface is very user friendly. So I will just come and type www.pizzabay.com. So I'll wait for it, I'll close this previous one. Now you can see. So now, since I want to make a design about Christmas, let me search on Christmas. Let's say, let's go for Christmas backgrounds first and see if there will be anything, because it's also important what you search for. It's not only about just searching randomly, but what you search for also matters, because the result they bring for you is largely depend on what you search for. So now, as you can see, we search for Christmas background. Now under this, if you check, you find out that we have images. Now under images, there are photos, there are vector graphics, there are illustrations. Or we know what vector graphics is. They are majorly files that are in SVG format. Yes, that's an SVG simply means scalable vector graphic. Yes, they are most times very high quality images, understand, but with low size. So illustrations, we all know what illustrations are. Illustrations can be in form of drawing, they can be in form of sketch, they can be in form of even in form of cartoons. Yes, so there are videos, although in this case we are concentrating largely on picture. Now you picking picture, it means they can, your search result will include photos, vector graphics and illustration. Now let's look at, if you want just photos alone without anything that have to do with graphics, vector graphics or illustration, you just head to this place, then you just pick your photos. Now as you can see, all what they'll be bringing for us will just be pictures, 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 and pictures. Now let's say for instance your design, you just want to feature in uh, an illustration, or you want to feature in vector graphics in your Christmas design. You can just come here and narrow down the search to vector graphics. So you find out that everything that they will bring out for you will be majorly things that have to do. You can see all these ones are vector graphics. As you can see, even this one, they are vector graphics. So you can see why, if you want to, you want all the search results should just be illustrations. You just come here and pick your illustration. So let's see what we have. So you can see this is an illustration, this is another one, this is another one. So you can see that all what we have here are just mere illustrations. You can see even this one that is under scalable vector graphics is still under illustration. So you can see this one is even an happy new year flyer. So you can see. So permit me, I think I love this background, so I'm going to take this background. Let me download it. So permit me to download this one. That's the highest quality. Oh, I just remembered that you have to sign in. If to download the highest quality, you have to sign in. I already have an account with them, so I'll just go ahead and sign in. Yeah. Good. So let me try one more time. As you can see, it has already downloaded, so there's no need of downloading it again. I'll go back. Okay, so I'm trying to check a picture that will be very nice for design. So permit me to pick this one also. Yes, I think I love this. So I also download this on the highest quality. Okay. Now permit me to change this illustration to images so that I can get a whole variety of photos. This one is cool. This one is cool. So you can just go through the page, make sure you get what you are looking for. This one is cool. This one is cool. This one is cool. Let's download this one. This one we can even take advantage of the writings. So permit me to download this one. As you can see, this is an SVG file, just like I say, vector graphics, and the SVG simply means scalable vector graphics, but I'm going to download the highest quality of in PNG. So it's already downloading. Then permit me to still look around. Let me see if I can get something good too. So always feel free to get more than one or two images. Yeah. Let me see what we can get. This one is nice too. Wow, this one is nice too. Okay. Okay, I think I let me pick this one. Let me download at highest quality. So I think I'm okay with what I have. Let me search one more thing. Let's see Christmas. Oh, my spelling of Christmas is wrong. Okay, Christmas element. Okay. No. I was thinking I could get something very very good, but let me keep looking and see. Let me go to the next page. Hmm. Okay, so I think we are done here. Now the next thing is to go back to my Photoshop. Now, back to my Photoshop. I've downloaded all the images I think I need for this design. So now, one other thing you need to take note is the size of your flyer, the size of your design. Are you designing a poster or are you designing a flyer? Because there are some posters that are in A3 design, they are in A3 size, some are in A4 size. But majorly, if you are the type that design for just social media consumption, maybe you just want to post it on your social media account, on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, and you don't necessarily want to print it out. That means what you need to do, you need to head to your file, then you can see new here, and you can see a shortcut. There's a shortcut button dedicated to that, which is Control N. So you enter it. Now under that, the first thing you see is a name. Now a name, since what I want to design is more like a flyer wishing uh, people, let's say my fans, or maybe my let's just say my fans or my customers, and a happy Christmas and possibly a new year in advance. So I'll just change it to happy Christmas. Then I'll add the year. Since this one is 2021, I'm going to add 2021. Now document type. Under this document type you see different sizes. Now if you go to US paper, under US paper document type, you go to size, you see letter, you see legal, and you see tabloid. Yeah, so under that's US paper. Now under document type, if you come to international paper, that's when you see your A4, your A6, your A5, your A3. We all know these ones. Now when you divide A3 into 2, you have what we call A4. Are you getting me? So like that when you divide A4 into 2, you have what they call A5. When you divide A5 into 2, you have what they call A6. So for these other ones, you can search about them. So you can decide to design on A4, and this is your width for A4, and this is the height for A4. Now under this one, you can change to any of these lengths. You can change it to pixels, You can change it to inches, you can change it to centimeter, you can change it to millimeter, you can change it to points, to picas, to column. All these ones you can convert from one to another directly, but you can search more on that, since this one we focus more on designs, yes, and not just but you can search how to convert from one of these ones to the other. So let me just take it back to inches. Now this resolution, mostly if you are designing a flyer, I will advise you to get the best out of it. It's better you go for a 300 resolution of pixels per inch, because there are two types of resolution on Photoshop. You get pixels per inch and there's pixels per centimeter. I always prefer using pixels per inch, which is 300. Yes, but if you are designing, possibly for maybe you are designing a banner or flex, you can design at 150 or even at 100 pixels per inch is permitted. But me, I love designing flyers and posters, most especially the ones that will be used online. Yeah, so another thing you need to take note is your color mode. Now, if what you are designing will only be used online, it's best you design using RGB color mode, which is red, green, blue. That's what it means. Why, if you are actually designing a poster or a flyer that is supposed to be printed commercially, yeah, now why I use the word commercial is because of improvement in technology and the rest. There are now machines that print at default in RGB color mode, and so in that case, you using those machines to design, those little printers to print your designs, you designing at RGB will have little to no effect on it. But if you say for commercial printers, majorly they make use of CMYK, and CMYK simply means cyan, magenta, yellow, and the K is for black. Yeah, they do not actually start with the B, they started with the ending, which is K. So although the color modes are somehow the same, the CMYK color mode tends to have brighter colors than the RGB. So what happens is that those commercial printers, because they by default they have black colors, the ink and everything. So by the time you print at bright colors, the black color from the printer tends to balance up the color. Now you designing at RGB already has considered and put into consideration that black color. So by the time you are designing it with it, the RGB has already given you the black color. So you taking it to print commercially in those printers that make use of CMYK, they adding another black color on the RGB will make your design look somehow darker than the way it's supposed to look. But if you design using CMYK and use the commercial printers that make use of CMYK, you find out that there will be a balance in color once it's printed. So this one designing for just online use, so I best go for RGB color mode. Now for your color mode, you find out there are different bits. You see 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit. Now I will advise you to best go for 8-bit, although you can attempt 16-bit or 32-bit. Now as you can see, with every increase in bit, the image size here increases. As you can see, for the 8-bit we have 24.9 m, that's megabyte. For the 16-bit it increases, it's more like doubles to 49.8 megabyte. Then for the 32-bit you can see it's almost 100 megabyte. So it's best you go for 8-bit, because even if you decide to go for a 16-bit or a 32-bit color mode, the human eyes barely differentiates that vast colors, so it's best you go for 8-bit unless otherwise stated, or unless the design you are designing is a design that you really need to do under the 16-bit or 32-bit. Yeah, so this background content, now you creating this one is more like you are creating a canva. Now this background content is how the canva will appear. Do you want it to appear black? Do you want it to appear white? Do you want it to have a kind of a color? You can just pick background color, then from here you can pick the color you want it to start with. Yes, or do you want it transparent, there's no color at all? Now majorly I prefer using white color, because I feel me creating a white canva on the white, I can decide to test out the colors I want to use more freely than using a black, using transparent, or using any other color. Now your color profile, now depending on what you pick here, now you see if you pick CMYK, you find out that the color profile will change accordingly. So majorly this one work hand in hand with the color mode. The color profile works hand in hand with the color mode. So I'll just take it back to RGB and you will see the color profile changes as well to RGB. Now there are different types of RGB, as you can see. There's the Adobe RGB, which you can see is 1998. There's the Apple RGB, there's Color Match RGB, there's Image P3, Pro Photo RGB. So there are different types of RGB, but for this we always make use of working RGB. Yes, that's the best. So the next thing I'm going to do is, remember we have not set our size. So here too there are other, you can try them out. Like for photo, you can see we have landscape, we have portrait. Landscape simply means horizontal, where your horizontal size is larger than your vertical, while your portrait simply means when your vertical is higher or larger than your horizontal. So that's photo. You can check web. Under this web you can see we have different screen size. This for 1080p, this for almost 720p, and the rest. This is almost for 2K resolution, and the rest. So we are not designing for web. You can also see for mobile app. All this one is probably how to do a UI or UX designs. So I'll just stick to custom. Now I'll go back, I'll take the resolution back to 300. My width, just like I said, since I'm designing for social media, I love to design using the same ratio, so that when it's be uploaded on WhatsApp or Instagram, it will take in the perfect size on that social media. So most at times I make use of 1200 pixels under 300 pixel per inch resolution. Now you can also convert this one to inches. You can see just 4 by 4 inch. To centimeter is just 10.16 to 10.16. In millimeter is 101.6. In point is 288. In pixels is 24. In column is just okay. I'm seeing pixels. So I'll just take it back to pixels. I prefer using pixels. So I'll go to now. If you like, if for instance you are somebody that make use of a particular size often, you can just decide to save it as a preset. So you come here, you see save preset. So now I can decide to, okay, let me name this one, let me name it social media. Okay, so you find out that the next time I want to make use of it, it's just for me to come to this document type. Even if it's I'm having something different, once I come to this document type, I'm going to see it here. You can see it here, social media, and you can see the size 1200 pixels by 1200 pixels. I'll choose it then. And if, like for instance, you are not okay with probably the precept and you feel like deleting it, once you pick the precept, you will see a delete button there. You can go ahead and delete it. So let's try it and see. So you can say, are you sure you want to delete? This action cannot be undone. Yes, now I've deleted it. So I'll just go ahead and create it. Beautiful. So as you can see, although something happened, as you can see, I'm having an artboard here. I don't actually want an artboard, so I'm going to create another new one. Yes. Am I getting an artboard? I'm not supposed to. Why am I getting an artboard? Sorry, permit me to cancel this. So this time around, let me use the shortcut, and the shortcut to say is Control N, right? Good. So let me see. White, color profile, working RGB, any other thing. think I'm okay. Okay. I don't know, I'm still getting an ad board. What's happening? Permit me to restart the software. So the Photoshop I'm using is actually Adobe Photoshop 2020. So let me go to new. I think I'm okay with this. Okay, so I'll go with my 1200. Then I'll change it to pixels per inch. Change the height to 1200. I think I'm okay with this. Then I go. So now you can see we now have a document instead of an art board. Yes. So to zoom is just to press your Control 0, not Control O. Control simply means open. Control 0. So now I'm going to save this file first before I start doing anything on it. And how do I save? I'll just go to I'll just press my Control Shift S. Remember your Control Shift S, or instead you come to File, you come to Save As. Then I'll save it to my picture folder and I'll name it Merry Christmas Design. So if you so it's done saving. So remember, we had some pictures, we downloaded some pictures for it. So now how I encourage designers, most, as a designer, it depends on what works for you. For some, they start designing using the background. For others, they start designing using the typography, the write-up, before they now deal with the background. But me, most times, I love working from down up. So most of the times I love to play around with the background first. So I'm going to my file and I'm going to go to, now you can go to open as smart object, but I'll go to open instead, and I'll go to my download folder. Yes, let me see, I'll change this one to this side so that I can see my download. Now I downloaded this. Now holding down my control key so that I can select multiple. That we downloaded this, we downloaded this, we downloaded this. What other one? Let me scroll down and see. So I think that's all we have. So I'll go ahead and open it. Good. Now you can see all of them, they open differently in a different environment that is different from our main design. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to look at among these two which one will be better. So let me see, the two are okay for me. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to pick the two, pick it from this place to the other side. Now before I pick it, I'm going to do something. I'm going to unlock both of them, and after unlocking both of them, I'm going to convert them to a smart object. Now somebody might ask that, is it really necessary to convert them to smart object? Now why I love converting my backgrounds and other things to smart objects is because of, in the process of design there might be times where you need to reduce and increase the size. Now on Photoshop, no, Photoshop is a raster program. It's not like Adobe Illustrator. Photoshop is a raster program that deals with pixels. So now as you reduce a picture on Photoshop and increase it, what is happening is, as you are reducing it, it tends to recalculate the number of pixels. Now when I say pixels, let me show you something here. Let me increase this picture. Now you can see as we zoom the picture, and you can simply use Ctrl plus to zoom, or you hold down your Alt and using your scroll button for those using external mouse, because I make use of external mouse. Now as you scroll further, you find out that the picture we once had is now beginning to have boxes, and each of these boxes, as you can see, they are color variations. Now you find out that if the picture is as it is in its normal size, you find out that you will not see any of those boxes, but as you zoom, you are going to start seeing boxes. Good. Now all these little boxes you are seeing are what are called pixels. Are you getting me? That's what is called pixels. So as you reduce and increase a picture on Photoshop, what is happening is that these particular pixels will be recalculated, because there's a limit to the number of pixels a picture of the particular size can actually accommodate. You understand? So imagine we reduce a picture to a very small size, and you find out that those pixels will be recalculated and readjusted. By the time, let's say, we now find out that, okay, this picture that we reduce the size, we need to increase the size. You increasing the size now, there's going to be a recalculation, but in this case the pixels will not be added. What will happen is that the pixels that were there originally in the small one is what we tend to increase in size and occupy the large one. And if you understand quality of pictures and even photos very well, you find out that the more pixels you have means the more information and detail, because each pixels holds one information or the other. As you can see, these two pixels differ. This one, they are holding the same colors, but then different shades of the same colors. So each pixels is unique. So for you to have a very high quality picture, you find out that that picture will carry more pixels. Having more pixels simply means having more detail. I know what differentiates color, the clarity of pictures and photos from each other are the pixels that each of those pictures carry. So now, to avoid that, I always convert them to smart object. Now how do I convert them to smart object? You just right click on them under your layer panel, then you go to convert to smart object. We do the same to the second one. I right click on it, convert to smart object. Now I can easily pick this one. Now to pick this one, there are two ways you can actually take it to this place. Now the first method is you come to this your tool. Is being called rectangular marquee tool, and you can use the key M on the keyboard to go there faster. Then you make sure you come on the main picture you want to move. You right click on it, and after right clicking on it, you see duplicate layer. So you tap on it. Now you see duplicate as, let's say I want to duplicate this one as the background. I want it to be the background. Then you see destination. Now I want it to go to my Merry Christmas design. That's where I want it to go to. Then once I'm done, I will now press OK. Now if I head back to my Merry Christmas design, you find out that the picture is already there. But looking at the picture, you find out that the picture is bigger than my Canva. This section where I can design is what is called the Canva. Now why it's bigger than the Canva is because of the picture itself. The size of the picture itself is higher than 1200 pixels. I know the size of my Canva is actually 1200 pixels by 1200 pixels. So if you look at the pictures I downloaded, they are actually higher than that 1200. So what I need to do is let me bring in the other one. Now the second method of taking one one document to another document is actually to come to this layer panel. The first one is the one I showed you just now, where you pick your rectangular marquee tool, you come to where the picture or anything anything you want to transfer to the other document is, you right click, you go to duplicate. Now the second one is to pick your layer, you press you left click on your mouse, you hold and drag to where the document is, then you release. So as you can see, this one too is way bigger than the Canva. Why? Because the original size of the photo is bigger. So what will happen is I'm going to resize the two. Now how do I resize? Let me first resize this one. Now tap on this. After tapping on this, you press or you go to your edit. Now under your edit, you see free transform. And you can see there's a shortcut for it, which is Ctrl T. So you go to free transform. Now once you go to free transform, you find out that this middle thing appears. So once it appears, you press your Ctrl 0. Remember. Okay, what's happening? Permit me. Okay, okay. Good. So no, I don't want to convert this. I'll go back to what I'm doing. As you can see, this is it. This is the size the picture is occupying, while this is the size our Canva is occupying. So from here I'll just resize it. Now the easiest way to resize is you can decide to resize it per this. Are you getting me? And now what you need to take note is make sure this place is selected, so that as you are reducing it, both sides are actually reducing at the same time or the same rate. Because if this one is not selected, you find out what will happen. So you can see my image will be distorted, you can see, but this is not what I want, so I'm going to cancel it. The another way is to hold down your alt, that's your alternative key on your Windows, on your PC. You hold it down, then you now reduce. Now as you can see, this one is not reducing to ratio, so to constrain it to reduce to ratio, while holding your alt, you can as well hold your shift. Now as you can see, it's being constrained to a ratio. So and now I'm going to tap here, that's to link both width and height, so that as width is reducing, height is also reducing. As width is increasing, height is also increasing. So I'll press OK, then I'll press Ctrl 0 to bring it back. So you can see now that my wallpaper is, my background is perfect. I can decide to reduce it further to fit in my design Canva properly. Okay, so I think I'm okay with this. Yes, so we are done with the first background. Let me name it background 1. So now I'm going to off. Now how you off a layer is that you see more like an eye symbol at the front, so you just simply put it off or on. So I'm going to put it off. Then the next one I'll do the same thing. Remember, you go to edit, you go to free, you see free transform, you tap on it. After tapping on free transform, you press your control 0. So let's allow it to load. The picture is quite large, so let's give it time to process. I think our program is back. So I'm going to press Ctrl 0. Now you can see this is the space our background is occupying, while this is our canvas. So I'm just going to reduce it to fit in the canvas. I press my OK. Then once I'm done, I press my Ctrl 0. So I'll further reduce it to fit in the canvas properly. So I think I'm okay with this. So we have two different backgrounds. We have the red and we have this other one. So now another thing is just like I said, that your design, apart from the illustrations it carries, you also need to carry the write-ups. So as it is now, just what I want to write is just a simple write-up, maybe Merry Christmas, and a happy new year, wishing you Merry Christmas and a happy new year. Now this background is very the space left for writing is very okay for me. So let me check the second one. For the second one too, the space left for me to write is very okay. It will be enough for me. We get it good. So now what I'm going to do is, for this first background, I'm going to just add a little something. In this case, I'm not using any logo. Yeah, but if you have a logo, you can decide to put the logo at the top right of your design. Yeah, so let me fill it up with something. Let me pick my text. Now as you can see, one thing you need to take note of, when writing, once you create a shape and you are about writing, you find out that once that shape is selected and you come around the shape, that's inside the shape, you find out that instead of a square around your writing cursor, what will happen is you'll be seeing round. What it means is your writing is going to be carved around that shape. Understand? I don't want that to happen, so I'll just hold down my shift. You see that it's now back to normal. You hold down your shift one inside the shape and you tap. So I'm just going to write logo to show that what is supposed to sit there is actually a logo, maybe logo of your company or whatsoever body is in charge of the design. And I'm going to change the color. As you can see here, the color is golden, so you can change your color from here, your swatches. You can change it from here, your main color, but I prefer using swatches. Yes, like I said, to change it here too, you just tap, click on it, and the color, as you change it, it updates on a go. You can see so it updates on a go. And you can also decide to pick a color. As you can see, once you go outside this selection, you have the ability to pick color. So I can decide to pick, let's say I pick this color. I think let me check this font. Let me see if I can change the font. Let me use Bebas New Pro. I love the font so much. Let me pick bold. Let me increase the size to, let's say, 25. Okay, I think I'm okay with 25. Now I'm going to center this right up around the shape. Now how do I do that? What I'm going to do, I'll go to the shape first. I'll make sure I'm around the square, not outside the square. I'm inside the square. I hold down my control. Once you hold down your control inside the square, you find out that there will be something like a dotted line surrounding a square shape. So you just tap on it. Once you see that happen, you tap, you find out that you now have this selection around it. Now I will pick what I want to center around the shape. This is what I want to center around the shape, this text logo. Then what I will do is I'll come back to my move tool. That's this tool here. I'll tap on it. So what you see next is this one. So you go to your align horizontal centers, align vertical centers, and once you are done, you go to select and deselect. So you can see we now have this one. So the next thing I'm going to do is, just like I said, we need a write-up which is Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now one thing is, you can decide to make use of your own font in the write-up, and you can also decide to browse maybe customized fonts made for Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. But in this tutorial, we'll be covering using your own font. So I'm going to come back to my text tool, which is this one. You can see T. Yes, you can right click on it to see other options, but this is the most important option right now. So I'm going to tap on here. Now the first statement I want to make is a happy, or instead of happy, sorry, let's use Merry Christmas. Now this Merry, I don't want the Merry to be in this font. You know, there are different types of fonts. You have your serif font, you have your sans serif, you have your decorative, you have your handwriting, and the rest. You have your calligraphy too. So now something like Merry Christmas, I would prefer the Merry to be either in an handwriting font, a decorative font, or a calligraphic font. Now after writing my Mary, still with the Mary selected. And if you observe, you find out that it was only the first alphabet that was capitalized. Why I did that was because I never intended to use a sans serif font, because this is a sans serif font. I never intended to use a sans serif font. My intention was to use a decorative font. Yes, so and decorative fonts don't do well with capital letters. You can actually capitalize the first letter, but capitalizing all the letters most times don't bring out the beauty in a decorative font. So after selecting it, I'll head down to my font here, and I'm going to check. I think I have this black sword. This one is Clarin. This one is Angel Lisata. Although you can go online and check for the one that you feel will be very okay for you. So there are different handwriting font, and one beautiful thing about Photoshop is that you can actually differentiate them. As you can see, these are all classes: serif, slab serif, sans serif, script. So most times what I want to use here is either a script font, and handwritten font, or a decorative font. So let me just tap on script. Now everything that will be here will be just script. That's fonts that are based on script. I get it. As you can see, you don't need to select them before you see how they look like. You can just hover around them, so you can see all these ones are actually script fonts. Yes. So, or if I like, let me go to handwritten and see. So you can see all these ones too, they are handwritten. You can see they're also handwritten, and you can also decide to go for decorative font. So you can see all these ones are actually decorative font, but permit me to go to all classes. And in this case, I'll be using black sword. Now this one is, permit me to increase it. I'm going to increase it to size. No, let's try 25. Let's first use this 25. So this one, let me change the color. Now I'm going to go back to my move tool so that I can move this one here. Then I'm going to change the color to red. Yes, or let me change the color to one of the colors here. Let me check for this green, if this green will be okay. Or let me check for this blue, or this golden color. Okay, I think this golden color is a little bit nice. Yes, although you can choose, pick any color, is all at your disposal. But since it's a bright background, you can, any color you are picking, you should have it in mind that it has to be a color that is a bit dark, because you using a light color, the beauty of your design won't come out. Even if it come out not the way it's supposed to. Yes, as you can see, because this one is a bright color, you can see it's not bringing out the writing very well. So I'm just going to look for a dark color to fit. I think I'll just manage this one for now. So I have this color, I think I'm okay. I'll move the Mary to somewhere here. Now the next word I want to write is Christmas. Now remember what I told you, that if possible you limit your usage of fonts to just 2 fonts. Highest, even if you want to add, you can go at least 3 fonts, but don't go beyond 3 fonts. So for that, I'm just going to, the next one I'm going to use is, I'm going to still use the initial font, which is the font I use for this, and we all know the font. So now if you check, once you select your text and you come around the text, you find out that you just have your text cursor. You don't have that rectangle around it. What this one is trying to tell is that once you tap on this, you are going to edit the text but not create a new one. So what I want to do is to create a new one. So I'll just go and to an area that is a bit far from the Mary. Now you see we now have this that square dash around it. I'm going to click to create another text. Now what I'm going to write is Christmas. Merry Christmas. So you can play around with the Christmas. Let's increase it to 35 and see. So you can see I can even decide to go back. Let me use my move tool to move it. Now I can even decide to use the same font for the Merry and Christmas. And if I like, I can decide to change this one to the font I used here, which is the Bebas New Pro. So let me see this thing. I'll just go for bold, or let me see how semi bold will look like. Semi expanded bold. So now for this my Christmas, I can decide to maybe, let's say, make it all capital letter and see how it looks. Now already I've written it in small letter. So once you have written something in small letter and you want to make everything capital letter, the next thing you need to do is to come to this place, that's your character. Now I know some of you might not have it here, so to bring it out, you just need to go to your Windows, then you check for character. Now you can see we have character here. You tap on it and it's going to open up this. Now you find out that there are different properties of text here, even more advanced than the one here when selecting your text. So I can just come. Now this one is for bold, to bold your text. As you can see, the text have become bold. This one is to slant your text. This one is to make all your text capital letter. So you can see all my text is now capital letter, but I think I should prefer it to be this small letter. Now I'm going to change the font of this Christmas. Let me see if I can get something nice. Oops. Okay, let me just leave it that way. So permit me to increase it to 40, so that I have something like this. Let me position it this way so you can see I have Merry Christmas. So let's say I want to like join Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now the hand I'm going to use is not just that normal hand. Instead, it's going to be the hand with this font. So I'll just go to my font. I'll tap, then I'll use the shortcut hand. I'm not going to use the normal AND, although you can still use the normal AND. Yeah, it's still very nice, but for me, I'm going to stick to the other type of hand. Now this one, I'm going to move it to this place, and I'm going to change the color. Now you can see, before I change the color, if you want to change the color of any text or shape, you make sure you select them here, because you not selecting them, you tapping anything, you find out that there will be nothing that's going to change. So you have to first select them here on the layers panel, then you tap on the color you want to change them to. Understand? So now this one, let me see if I can get a color here to change it to. So let me change it to this color, this dark golden color. So as you can see, you find out that it's behind the Christmas, and it's staying behind the Christmas is not looking all that nice. So from here, I'm going to take it to the top. Now this is how Photoshop layers work. The layer that is at the topmost will display before any other layer before it. So always put that into consideration, and know that the arrangement of your layers is not just about creating text, or maybe bringing in new pictures, or maybe creating shape. Are we getting it? It's also very important. It's very, very important for you to also arrange your layers, to arrange them properly. So I think, and Merry Christmas, and should we say a Happy New Year? So for this a Happy New Year now, permit me, let me just use Merry Christmas. So I'll select the two fonts. I want Merry to appear before Christmas, so I'll select these two. I'm going to group them. So to select, you simply tap on the first one, then you hold down your control key, that's CTRL. You tap on the second layer, and to create a folder, once you have selected the layers you want to put inside a folder, you tap on the folder and you name it Merry Christmas. And so now you find out that if you want to move it, once you tap anything, you find out that to open up the folder and pick that particular thing. Are you getting me? I'm going to press Ctrl Z to take it to its initial position. So what you do to move a folder, that's everything inside a folder at once, there are two ways of doing that. You either come here, as you can see, here is showing layer, you change it to group. In that case, you find out that you see I'm moving them as a group. But the one I prefer is let it still be on layer, but once I know how to move an entire group, what I do is that I go ahead, I select the group. After selecting the group, I hold down my control key. Holding down my control key, I can easily move the group around. So I'm going to bring it here, since this is the only thing we are writing, and I'm going to increase the size. Now to increase the size, you just make sure you select the group, then using any of the anchor points, all these points you are seeing here are called anchor points. I'll just increase them from the anchor points. So let me take it up. You can also use your direction arrow to move it either up, down, left or right, depending on your choice. So let me see, Merry Christmas. Let me write something down. I'm going to reduce the size of this to 15 and see, Merry Christmas dear esteem. Which one should I even use? Dear esteemed viewers. Yes, permit me to use viewers. Now this one, I'm going to move it. I'll pick my move to and move it to the middle of the writing. Now this dear esteemed viewers, the way it's looking is looking bold. I don't want that, so I'm going to select it. I'll go back to this place and let me pick another, a different width and see. Okay, so I think I'm okay with this. Or let me see, let me select a middle italics. So I think I like what I'm seeing here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to space the characters so that the length can be the same with the length of the Christmas. So how do I do that? Remember what I told you. Either I select it this way, or, and one other thing before I forget, once you select the text, you can either align it to the vertical, to the right, to the left, or to the middle. So for this, I'm going to now the use of this alignment. If I align it to the right, anything I'm doing, even increasing the size of this character, what will happen is that it will be increasing and going towards the right. If I do it to the left, anything I'm doing, be it increase of size or width or spacing, it will increase from the left, it will be increasing from the right, it will be increasing down to the left. But for in this case, I prefer center, where both left and right are increased at the same rate. So I'll make sure that particular text layer is selected, then I go back to my character. Remember, if you don't have it, you come to view, you come to Windows, sorry, then you pick your character. Good. So I'll come to character, then you can see, you see something here. This one is trying to show you that you can increase the space between characters. So what I'm going to do is, using my mouse, or if you feel mouse is too slow, you can tap select inside, then use your arrow key to increase it. So I think I'm okay with this. So permit me to change this one back to normal middle. I think I prefer it this way. Merry Christmas dear. The spacing is looking too much, so let me reduce it to 150 and see, or let me even take it to 100. So dear esteemed viewers, so I'm going to do something. Let me separate the Merry Christmas from the dear esteemed viewers. So let me use a line 2. and before I use a line to permit me to select the Christmas. Then now for this particular thing, you find out that I have a scale at the top and I have a scale by my left. Now to you can actually change the unit of the scale. Now the unit of this my scale is on pixels. You can decide to change it to inches. To change it, simply go to that ruler side, you right click, then you see. So now I know on your system yours might not be visible, so to make it visible, just press your Control R. You see it's no longer visible on mine. Control R, it comes back. So what to toggle it in and out is your Control R. So I'll bring it out, then I'll pick from here. I'll left click. I'll make sure I hold down my left click, I hold it and drag it until it gets to this anchor point. I'll release. I'll do the same to the other side. I'll hold it and drag until it gets to this anchor point and release. Then I'm going to go to my line 2. I'll pick it. Now I'll draw a line from this point. Now as you can see, the line is free, moving freely, but what I want to do is to maintain a straight line, not a diagonal. Or so what I will do is that I'll hold down my shift. Now holding down your shift, you find out that I'm moving horizontally on a straight line. Yes, and you can decide to holding down your shift, you can increase in 45. You can see I'm going at 45, but what I want is just this. So I'll release, and this I want it to be in black. So I think I'm okay. I'll move it up a little bit. So I think I'm okay with this. It's looking somehow, so I'll go to my layer. I'll select the small triangle and I'm going to reduce it. Now to reduce this line to, you can find out that we have about 3 anchor points, one here, one here at the middle, and one by my right. So I'm going to select my arrow key. I'm going to use a direct selection. This part selection actually selects the whole thing. Even if it's just a single point you selected, to select everything. So what I want is the white arrow 2. You just right click on the 2 and you see the second one. So I'll select this first part. Now holding down my shift and pressing the right arrow, I'm going to reduce it. Now let me calculate how many times I'm reducing it. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. And I'll do the same thing to the other side. I also select it. To select it, you just simply need to tap on it and also release it. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Oh no, let me select everything. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So I think I'm okay with this. So we have Merry Christmas, dear esteemed viewers. So this for a simple Christmas design. Now something like this, we can go ahead, save it, and post it on our social media. So to save, let's assume that okay, we are done with everything and want to save this file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head to my file, that's this place. Then you see save as, not save. If you press save, it's just going to save it to the PSD file, that's the raw file of Photoshop. So what you need to do is go to your file, you see the save as. Now it will come up with this. You select where you want to save it. So I want to save mine to pictures. Then the name, I still want it to maintain Merry Christmas design, but this time around I'm not saving it as Photoshop file. Instead I want to save it as a normal picture format. So you can either go with JPEG or you go with PNG. So me, I'm going to go with JPEG. Then here you don't need to do anything here. You can see here it's trying to show you the color mode your design is in, and if you remember, we actually use sRGB, that's working RGB. So I'll go ahead and press save. Now it's going to show you this. Now for quality, it's best you choose maximum quality, although you can actually reduce the quality here to suit your purpose, but I prefer using large, the maximum, that's the highest quality. Then under this format option, it's best you choose baseline optimize. You can see we have baseline, standard, we have progressive, so it's good you choose baseline optimized, and I'll go ahead and press OK. So now I've saved this picture already. So let's head to my Windows and see. So I saved it to my pictures. As you can see, this is our design. Let's open it up and see how it looks. So you can see, so this place we are supposed to put our logo. We have Merry Christmas dear esteemed viewers. So that's for the first background. Now let's look at for the second background. Now the second background, we just need to put off our first background and put on our second background. Now you can see that the colors we use for the first background, now the color appearing on the second background, it looks poor, it looks bad. You understand? And so what we need to do is to change the colors. Now I'm going to select this folder and I'm going to bring in this other text inside the folder we created for Merry Christmas. Now I'm going to move it to the top a bit. I think this position is okay. Now looking at this background, the colors that are going to match here is either we make use of a white color or we make use of a golden, and the golden color is going to be a bright golden color. So now for the Merry, permit me to try out a white color, while for the Christmas, let me try out this golden color here. So I'm going to double click on it to select the text, and I'll tap here, then I'll pick the golden color here. So you can see at least it's looking much better now. Okay, we can even decide to use the same color for Merry. So let me change this one to white and see how it looks. Merry Christmas. It's okay. So for this my triangle, I'm going to change it to golden color too, and this dear esteemed viewers, I'll change it to a white color. So you can see Merry Christmas dear esteemed viewers. Why this one? Despite the fact the white shape is making the text very visible, but I will still change the text. You want me to change it to black. In this case, black will be much better, and that color is off. Why I can't use gold here is because the gold is light, the white is also a light color, so it will not be too visible. So it's better I either use a dark golden color or I simply use a dark red. So let me permit to select the text, then we have dark red color here, or even simply the light red. The light red too will go. So that's that. Merry Christmas dear esteemed viewer. So you can also decide to try out other fonts. Yes, there are many other fonts, you can try them out. Everything still boils down to what you think works for you. So you can see, let's say for instance this one now, you can see Merry Christmas. So I'll stick to my other font. I prefer this font. Yeah, so remember the two fonts we use are Black Sword, while the second font is Bebas New Pro. So you can just check them online. You can get the free version online. So this one, so I'm going to save it. So to save this one, I'm going to head down to my file. Yeah, I'll go to save as. Now under save as, I'm going to, now remember we've already saved the file as Merry Christmas design, so we can decide to use for the second one. We'll put Merry Christmas design -1 to differentiate them. Then I'll go ahead and press save. Now I'll do the same thing because that first save is actually in Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop format. So to save it in normal picture format, I'll go to file, then I'll go to save as. Yes, save as. Good. Then I pick, remember JPEG or PNG, but I prefer JPEG. I'll use PNG for when I want to save pictures without background. So I I choose JPEG and I go ahead and save it. Now always remember, format option, you choose baseline optimized, and I'll press OK. Now it's done saving. I'll head back to my picture folder and check. As you can see, these are design. Merry Christmas DST viewers. So I don't know if there's any question. You can actually comment. If there's anything, if you want the file, you can request for the file. Once you request for it, you drop your email, and we are going to email you the raw file. If it's the pictures you want, even if it's the font, you can actually send the fonts, the pictures we used, and even the Photoshop raw file to you directly to your mail. Yes. So thank you so much for watching today's video. See you soon. Thank you.